Good morning, boys and girls. Jen via Leo and Lou here today for Essential Oils Education. This is the beginning of Oils A to Z. I'm going to be doing Facebook Lives every week in the month of August, talking about 13, is that Cynthia? Hey Cynthia, good morning. I'm going to be talking about 13 each week of doTERRA's essential oils and covering them A to Z to help us get ready for back to school, mentally and spiritually, I guess. So today we're going to cover Arborvitae through Clove. And next week, next Monday at 10 a.m., we're going to do Copaiba through Lavender. Okay, go get dressed. I might have a special visitor today. Okay, so you may have seen some of my other Facebook Lives before. I always like to preface everything that I'm saying with the fact that a little disclaimer that I'm not a health professional. This is how I use these oils. I have done some good research on them, but I'm not a health professional. So if you have any questions about specific health concerns, of course you can reach out to me. I'd be happy to share my experience and what I do know, but always talk to your doctor if you're dealing with something chronic or serious. And I also like to let y'all know the sources of the information that I gather mainly come from three places. Firstly, doTERRA. They have just released their Essential Oils Chemistry Handbook, which I refer to a lot to understand the science behind the oils and the compounds and what they do. I also use this book a lot, Emotions and Essential Oils, for kind of an esoteric understanding of what the oils do to our physiological and spiritual body. And then I also use the Modern Essentials Encyclopedia. This is a reference guide that's not, neither one of these are doTERRA specific, so if you were using other essential oils, some of the information, is applicable there too. So, come on, Flynn. It's the back. What is an essential oil? If you've never watched any one of my videos before or you're brand new to getting started, essential oils are very simply just the aromatic compounds from plants. Flynn wants to say hello.
No, I'm helping.
Okay, I have a lot to talk about. Why don't you go watch Candles and you can help me? Flynn, we talked about this a little while ago. Okay?
I want to help you.
I know you do, baby. I know you do. Flynn, first. Sorry about that, y'all. Where was I? Essential oils are aromatic compounds that basically are distilled from different plants. You've got several different categories of essential oils. You have citrus oils, trees and roots and grasses, spices, and then the herbs. So those different kinds of plants, when they're distilled into essential oils, take on their own kind of general characteristics, and then each of the oil has its own specific chemical profile with certain chemicals, and I mean naturally occurring chemicals, nothing that's been added synthetically, not from doTERRA anyway, specific chemicals that each do their own amazing things. So let's get started. We'll start with Arborvitae. Arborvitae in Latin means the tree of life, and the name itself is what originally attracted me to this oil, because it gives you life. Arborvitae is an oil that's native to the Pacific Northwest, although I still maintain that it smells like something that I used to smell as a child vacationing in Arkansas. I don't know why, but that's what it is for me. It's some kind of childhood recollection. So Arborvitae is a tree oil, and it is part of the cypress conifer family. Most tree oils, I would say 99% of them, are not safe for internal use. However, they are safe to put on your skin. They're not photosensitive, and they can also be diffused into the air. White fir, I think, is the only one that Siberian fir is the only one that you can take internally. So this is Arborvitae. The steam distillation comes from the heartwood, so actually like deep inside of the tree, and that actually means to sacrifice the way that they do that. So the tree is kind of sacrificing itself to give us life. It's a restoring oil because it has a lot of esters in it, and the body systems that it affects are the immune system and the skin. It's a really powerful cleanser, and it's also a natural insect repellent. The Arborvitae tree itself secretes its own chemicals, its esters and other things that naturally repel insects from the tree. So if you're using it on yourself or even diffusing it in the air, it's going to diffuse those compounds into the air and repel the insects that way. It's also antibacterial. My favorite uses for Arborvitae are for wood polish. I add it to some olive oil and a little bit of white vinegar. Hey Maria. And this is how I clean my grandmother's vintage wooden table. Because it has those natural insect repellent qualities to it, it's an excellent wood conditioner because it's basically the tree preserving itself. So it's a fabulous wood polish. And I like to bring this oil camping. It kind of smells warm like you're camping anyway. And because it's a tree oil, it helps keep you rooted and grounded, so it'll help you sleep even if it's just on a thermarest in a sleeping bag. And while it's keeping you grounded, it'll also be a natural bug repellent. So that's Arborvitae, the first of our oils today. Next, we're going to move on to basil. Basil is one of my favorite oils, especially in the summertime. Emotionally, it's the oil of renewal, and I feel that especially in the intense heat, I need a lot of renewal in that way. Since we've moved to Oregon, I've had bouts of dizziness and even kind of what I would consider vertigo, I guess because the sun is so like beaming hot and you're not used to it at all. And this really has come to the rescue a lot of times. Basil is the highest oil in linalool alcohols, which means it's very relaxing. Linalool is a terpene, also found in lavender, cannabis, a bunch of other relaxing plants, and basil has the highest concentration of that linalool compound, so it makes it really relaxing and rejuvenating. It's part of the mint family in the herbal oils. This oil, I think the only caution really is that if you are epileptic or prone to seizures, this oil should be avoided. I am not entirely sure why. When I read those words of specific caution, I feel like I have to pass them along to you. Basil oil is what I really like basil for, aside from it being renewing, is any kind of insect bites or any kind of itchiness. If you have a basil plant, making a poultice on any kind of insect bites is a wonderful remedy. My mom used to do that when we were little. And the oil works just as well. Just a little drop, you don't need a lot. These oils are super concentrated. There are about 250 drops in a 15 milliliter bottle, and one drop is plenty for most issues. Let's see what else I want to tell you. Oh, back to the emotional side of it being the oil of renewal. It helps with adrenal exhaustion, and also if you're having adrenal exhaustion, you may be suffering a headache as a result of that adrenal fatigue, and this helps the body repair itself naturally from those symptoms. So I think that's probably another reason why I just gravitate towards it. It's really cooling because it's part of the mint family. It's very sweet, and again, it's just very renewing and lovely. I love basil. Basil also can help if you're dealing with gallbladder issues or nervous depression, which is something that I rely on my oils a lot for. That's basil. Moving through the B's to bergamot. Bergamot is a really interesting citrus oil. When I first started using it, I did not know very much about it. It looks very unusual. Its skin is green and kind of lumpy, but chemically speaking, it's very similar to grapefruit. It is a citrus oil, and this is my PSA. Angel, oh yes, basil's good for gallbladders. Bergamot is highly photosensitive, and what that means is if you put this oil on your skin, if you go to the bathroom, okay. Maybe try to take care of yourself afterwards, Flynn. Adventures in 4-year-olds. Bergamot is highly photosensitive, which means that if you put this oil on your skin and then you go into the sun, your skin will react. And by that I mean you will suffer a burn. So please use caution when you're using your citrus oils. All the citrus oils are safe for internal use. So if you'd like to enjoy the benefits of bergamot, either diffuse it that day that you're going to be in the sun, hey Casey, or take them internally, or put them where the sun don't, stick them where the sun don't shine. That's a safe way. Let's see, bergamot, the oil comes from a cold press of the rind of that bumpy green skin, and its main chemical component is limonene. Limonene is another powerful terpene that you find in a bunch of other plants. Emotionally, bergamot is the oil of self-acceptance, so it helps us cleanse stagnant feelings and stop judging ourselves. You love bergamot? Me too. It's really, it's sweet, but also a bit tangy. It's very mild. It feels like a very mild citrus to me. But my favorite way to use bergamot is I take it internally every day for anxious depression. That's how I use it, because it works. It's both uplifting and calming at the same time because it is such a unique citrus. And a few of them are like that. I think ones that are kind of on the sweeter side, maybe you'll find that. They kind of help you get a little sweet, but also energized and invigorated, but not too like buzzy. So that's bergamot. So we've done Arborvitae, Basil, and Bergamot. And now we're going to talk about Birch. Birch is an exclusive oil to doTERRA. Usually it's only available if you buy their convention kit, which I always do. And I love Birch. It's really sweet. As you can infer, it's a tree oil. It smells like a minty candy. Chemically, it's really similar to wintergreen, so if you're not able to get birch and you wanted to use it for some of the reasons why, wanted to treat some of the symptoms. Wintergreen would be your oil because that is always available from doTERRA. Birch comes from, they get the oil from the steam of the bark of the tree. And again, not safe for internal use, but you can diffuse it and put it on your skin. It's cooling, so it's really good for a massage, but it's aromatically going to be calming. But because it's kind of got that minty scent to it, that's also going to be a little stimulating to you naturally. It can help reduce blemishes, and emotionally, it's the oil of support. So it helps you be flexible with a strong backbone. I love that phrasing. It promotes endurance, and so a fabulous place to apply this would be diluted along your spine to keep your backbone strong but yet flexible. That's birch. And again, if you wanted support in any of those areas with the blemishes or as a cooling oil to use for massage, wintergreen would be a good substitute. Black pepper comes next. This is an oil that I've really come to love and appreciate. It's from pepper. It's from black peppercorns. It actually kind of has a sweet smell, but spicy on the back. Its main chemical component is caryophyllene, which is a sesquiterpene, and it's a soothing oil because of that caryophyllene. The oil comes from a steam distillation of the pepper, like the actual pepper berries, before they get dried out to make, you know, what you would normally crack over your salad. Hey, Christina, welcome to Leo and Lou. It affects the body systems, the digestive and the nervous systems. This oil is fabulous at helping overcome addictions, specifically tobacco. I posted a little while ago, and I can post again if anybody's interested, a recipe for quit sticks if you know someone that's trying to quit smoking. Basically, you soak toothpicks in black pepper and a little bit of olive oil or coconut oil and clove. Black pepper, because it is a spice oil, is considered a hot oil. You love black pepper. Ooh, with the ylang ylang, that would smell nice. If you're using any of the hot oils topically, just make sure that you fully and thoroughly dilute them, because they can cause a tingly and warming sensation on your skin because they are warming. It's a very powerful antioxidant, and it enhances your circulation. That's why you feel that warming. It helps in digestion. It's an anti-anxiety, and you would think that because it enhances your circulation that might make you a little bit more like anxious and buzzy, but really it's just encouraging a healthy blood flow and soothing to the nervous system. So I love that these oils are so complex. They can do things that you wouldn't necessarily connect. Emotionally, it's the oil of unmasking. So it helps you get real. If you're feeling trapped or superficial, it can help you feel like you're restoring your integrity, which to me is When I do feel like things are not real, that's when I get anxious. So that's why I like the black pepper a lot. And I do use it daily. I take it internally in a veggie capsule every day for anti-anxiety. Most of the spices oils are soothing to your nervous system, even though they're spicy, which is really interesting to me. They're just so complex, and I love that they're so kind of mysterious in that way. So that's black pepper. And you may have noticed that some of the oils are in different bottles, like the black pepper is in a 10 milliliter small bottle, and the bergamot is in a 15 milliliter. That's just the way that doTERRA packages them. I'm sure it has something to do with the sourcing and just making sure that everything's sustainable. You know, it takes a lot of plant to yield a very little amount of essential oil. That's why they're so potent and why you don't need a lot. But if you have any questions about the volume of the bottles, just let me know. We're going to move on to another small bottle now, Blue Tansy. Blue Tansy is an oil that when we got it after convention last year, you can even watch the unboxing. Lauren and I were going through them, and I remember not really liking the smell of it and just being like, I don't know what to do with this, but I really have come to love it. Now it smells like tea to me. There is kind of like a round and warm undertone, almost like Chardonnay. I don't know. That's my smell. Anyway, I'd love to hear what y'all think Blue Tansy smell like. And you can see on the end, Blue Tansy really is blue. That's why the end of the cap is blue. The chemical inside the plant that does that is called chamazoline. It's my favorite new magic word. And Blue Tansy can also be known as Moroccan chamomile, so it's related to Roman chamomile. Anything that you would use Roman chamomile for, you could use Blue Tansy for. Calming, soothing, all those floral oils are fabulous for skin, and that's primarily how I use Blue Tansy. You can put it in your diffuser, just know that it will kind of leave a little blue tint to things. Each night I use it in my nighttime moisturizer. I put one drop, and you can see it is blue. It does eventually, you know, absorb into the skin, and it doesn't stain your skin. I know you do. You can come sit with me if you want. And we're not going to keep talking. You can come sit with me. I'm in the middle of the class. Say hi to everybody. Okay. So I use a drop of Blue Tansy in my nighttime moisturizer, and I just posted in the group. Blue Tansy has been touted recently as like the next super herb. It's in a bunch of really expensive skincare. I feel like it's really wonderful in helping with anti-aging, any kind of skin imperfections that you're dealing with. And it's also an anti-anxiety herb. So anything that you're doing for your skin, it's doing that for your internal systems also. So it's anti-anxiety for your skin. If you think about your skin being the biggest organ on your body, what we put on our skin is so important. This is why I'm so passionate about living a non-toxic lifestyle, because the air that we breathe and the things we put on our body affect us emotionally and physically also. So why not use an oil that helps you feel calm and also makes your skin look gorgeous? I like that it does more than one thing. It's also an antibacterial, antihistamine, and analgesic. It's anti-inflammatory as well. So Blue Tansy does all those things. Okay. Cardamom comes next. Flynn, Flynn, I'm in the middle of my class. I'm going to continue. Cardamom is next. Cardamom is a spice oil, and it's actually related to ginger. And the oil comes from a steam distillation of the seeds. It's a restoring oil because of its ethers. I love the scent of cardamom. You can kind of smell that ginger, but there's a sweetness to it as well. It benefits the digestive and the respiratory systems, and my favorite way to use cardamom is when I make my own elderberry syrup. I just use a few drops, and you can also actually get the cardamom seeds to do that as well. And it's a really natural way to support your body's respiratory system, especially during cold season. I always have elderberry on hand when those winter months start rolling around, and actually when we start going back to school, I'll make another batch. It's antibacterial, anti-infectious, anti-inflammatory. It's an expectorant and a stomachic, and it's also an aphrodisiac. It is going to be a little bit warming, so just keep that in mind. It's considered, I guess, like not really a warm oil, but use caution if you're going to use it topically. I always say if you're going to use any oil topically, dilute it. Emotionally, it's the oil of objectivity, so it helps with mental sobriety and self-control, and that's cardamom. Cassia comes next. Cassia is very closely related to cinnamon bark, which we are going to touch on here, and I don't actually have cinnamon bark. I chose cassia in lieu of it. It smells like the holidays. It's a wonderful oil to diffuse in the colder months to warm up. Take internally, rub it on the bottoms of your feet. Again, it is a very hot oil, so please use caution when you're putting it on your body. Do not put it in the bathtub. I did that once and my lady bits were not happy. The oil comes from the steam distillation of the bark, the actual Cinnamonium cassia bark, which is related to the laurel tree. It's a restoring oil because of its aldehydes, and it affects the cardiovascular, the immune, and the metabolic systems. It is not safe for use during pregnancy. Again, not sure why, so we're going to avoid basil if we're epileptic, and we're going to avoid cassia and clary sage if we're pregnant. Emotionally, it's the oil of self-assurance, so it helps dispel fear and instill gladness and courage in the heart, and that's cassia. Cedarwood is a tree oil from cedar. Cedarwood is actually a relative of cypress. It's a conifer, and it's also related to juniper berry, Juniperus virginiana. It's also known as red cedar. The steam distillation from the wood of that tree is how we get the oil, and it's a stabilizing oil because of its alcohols, and it's also soothing because of its sesquiterpenes, again, those terpenes. It affects the nervous system and the skin. It's also a natural insect repellent, again, like the Arborvitae. Several of those wood oils, you think about the fact that in nature, they don't want to be eaten by termites or bugs, so they start creating things inside of themselves to preserve. And so that's why we can use a lot of these wood oils as natural insect repellents. It's also antiseptic to the urinary and pulmonary systems, and it can help with acne because it helps overactive oil glands. So if you have too many oil secretions, cedarwood is a great oil for that. That being said, if your skin's on the dry side, you might want to choose another oil. It's also antifungal and very calming and grounding. My favorite uses for cedarwood are primarily at nighttime for diffusing. I tend to use it a lot if I want to kind of switch it up from the serenity. I'll add it to some Roman chamomile and maybe a little lavender, and that's cedarwood. All right, we've got the herbal oil of cilantro next. Hi Sean, how's it going? I know most people either love cilantro or they hate it. I'm a lover. The oil is very strong. Again, this is a very concentrated plant aromatic compound. So if you're going to use the herb in cooking, you can use the oil in cooking, but you do not need a lot. There is a little hole at the top. Do you see in the very center there? You can stick a toothpick down there and just add that to whatever sauce, your pico de gallo or whatever you're cooking if you wanted to cook with cilantro oil. It's not recommended that you use the oils if you're going to be heating the food. So once you've made your recipe and then things are, oh good, you're a lover too. I love cilantro also. If you're going to use cilantro or any essential oil for cooking, wait till the food is at room temperature before you add it. Cilantro is a calming oil, and it's a relative of the parsley family. It's Mexican parsley, I guess, and then there's Italian parsley as well. Cilantro benefits the digestive system and the nervous system. It helps really calm anxiety, and it's also a very powerful herb and oil in ridding the body of toxic heavy metals. A lot of my New Orleans friends, I know that y'all probably are aware, there are very high lead levels in the soil. And I have a dear friend whose child her baby tested really positive and almost toxic for her lead levels. And they treated it with cilantro oil. And the baby's lead levels are miraculously safe after just a few months of treatment. So that's one of our favorite uses for cilantro. We personally have never had any issues with that, but if you're doing any kind of detox, cilantro is a wonderful oil for that as well. All right, we've got 3 more to go. The next one is cinnamon bark, which again, I don't have because it's very closely related to Cassia. And I just opted for the Cassia because of its self-assurance quality. But cinnamon actually comes as a relative of the laurel plant, and it comes from a tropical evergreen, cinnamon. Cinnamon, like Cassia, is an extremely hot oil, so use caution with it on your skin. Cinnamon is a restoring oil because of its aldehydes, which are monoterpenes, and it affects the immune system as well as the metabolic system, just like Cassia, but Cassia also has the benefit of the cardiovascular health. Cinnamon is a natural insect repellent as well, and it's in On Guard. And I want to read y'all a quote right now. You can come sit with me. Where does it say? Let's see. This oil fights viral and infectious diseases, and testing has yet to find a virus, bacteria, or fungus that can survive in its presence. So that's cinnamon bark. It's a very powerful antifungal, antiviral, and anti-infectious. This oil testing has yet to find a virus, bacteria, or fungus that can survive in its presence, and that's from the Modern Essentials book. So that's how powerful cinnamon oil can be. We're going to do 2 more oils, Flynn. Okay, I hear you, and you're going to have to wait just a few more minutes. Clary sage is my second to last one, and I love clary sage. It smells very feminine. It smells warm and fuzzy. It's different than white sage. If you are a person who likes to, smudge your home with white sage, this is a little bit different than that. They are still, they're related. It's a calming oil because of all of the linalool in it. It also has a bunch of alcohols and esters, which are monoterpenes. It's related to mint. It's in the mint family. And clary sage specifically affects the hormonal system. It's an antispasmodic, and it's a sedative, and it's warming. So this is why women, when you're menstruating, this is your go-to oil. I start taking a couple drops internally a few days before my cycle is going to start to help ease with cramping. And if you're taking the pain balm, which is frankincense and marjoram and copaiba, for your cramps, I would add some clary sage to that. You can also dilute it and just rub it right on your abdomen. Emotionally, it's the oil of clarity and vision. It helps you change your perception. So if you would like to use it in meditative work, you could put it on your brow chakra right here. It can help during a healing crisis. It helps you see your own limited beliefs. And I think that that's interesting that I always connect it to my menstrual cycle. And when I'm thinking about my menstrual cycle on a spiritual level, I think of ridding myself of things that I don't need anymore, like those limited beliefs. So clary sage is supporting that also. This is also a wonderful oil to add to a bath because it is warming, especially if you're ladies, if you're right about to start your cycle, or in the winter time. This would be a safe warming oil. Do not put that cinnamon or cassia in the tub. That would, I'm telling y'all, I've tried it. It's not good. That's clary sage. And last but not least, we're going to talk about clove oil. Clove oil is actually related to the myrtles, and it's steam distilled from the bud and the stem of the clove. It's a restoring oil, and it's nature's most powerful antioxidant, more powerful than blueberries, just one little drop. It's anti-infectious, antifungal, and also anti-tumor. It affects the cardiovascular, digestive, immune, and respiratory systems, and it's a drawing salve, so it helps pull toxins from things. So I'm going to say be cautious when you're doing that. A lot of times when people start detoxing, a lot of negative things start coming up and coming out, and people stop using whatever oil or supplement they're using. That's what the oil is supposed to do. Stay with it. Obviously, if you're having severe reactions, consult your physician or get some help. But just know that a little bit of discomfort is normal. Clove is a fabulous oil for mamas and daddies of teething babies. It's good for all things mouth because it has all those anti-infectious and antifungal properties. So not only will it numb the gum and help treat the discomfort naturally, it's also going to fight infection. So anytime you have any kind of toothache or any kind of mouth infection, clove would be a wonderful oil for that. You can mix it in some water and do a little gargle. It's really good for the gums. And that's it for today. Thank y'all for joining me and bearing with me through my interruptions. We're going to go from copaiba to lavender next week, next Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, so I hope you'll join me there. As always, leave me any questions in the comments or reach out to me directly. And happy oiling, everybody. Bye.